Hi folks, Aaron Dorr here. I'm the policy advisor with Wyoming gun owners. You guys have been asking a lot of questions, and rightfully so, about what actually happened in the 2019 session. We know that the pro-gun bills were all killed by leadership, but what actually happened, who was on our side, who was against us. So here's kind of our official report on the 2019 session. I had to refer to my notes, so pardon me for looking down at my sheet here throughout this video. But it's important to realize who exactly it is who fights for us and who screws us. Because in Cheyenne, nobody can claim that the Democrats are the ones who are killing gun bills. We all understand that. They're almost a protected species in Cheyenne. There's so few of them. So if a gun bill is to be killed in Cheyenne, it dies because Republicans are the ones who want to kill it. So kind of painting the picture here, you all know last year, WIGO drafted and passed a killer stand your ground law with lots of protections, lots of good provisions in there. That was a huge accomplishment in 2018. Moving out of the session, we worked very heavily in the primaries, both the gubernatorial primary, getting all the candidates, including Governor Gordon, on the record for or against our gun rights. He surveyed 100% on our survey. And then also to go out there in key primaries in August and expose anti-gun Republicans, because for heaven's sakes, there's plenty of them. And so WIGO worked hard in a bunch of races, contested primaries, open seat primaries, to do exactly that. So we had a lot of great successes where you guys, gun owners, removed people from office who were bad on guns. So we hit 2019 with more conservatives in office and a governor who was far different, he said, than Matt Mead when it came to, because don't forget, it was Governor Mead who vetoed our bill in 2017 that would repeal deadly gun-free zones. So this year, 2019, we have a new governor, we have a fresh head of steam, we got some new faces in the chambers. It's going to be our chance to repeal deadly gun-free zones, but also to deal with the growing problem of preemption violations. You all know what happened at UW last year, where UW believes they have the right to set their own policies in direct violation of Wyoming law and the state constitution. So this bill would have cleaned up these two major issues and two big problems that we have in the state. The first bill that was drafted, there's two versions of this, one for either chamber. Senate File 75. Senate File 75 was sponsored by the workhorse, the lion when it comes to gun rights in Wyoming, Senator Anthony Bouchard, the guy who makes it happen for gun owners in the state capitol. He had 36 co-sponsors on this bill, which is a testimony to both his hard work, but also the growing sense amongst lawmakers that if you don't support WIGO legislation, you're going to have a problem. And so 36 members of both chambers combined co-sponsored SF 75. In the House, we had Representative Tim Salazar, who of course led our fight there last year as well for stand your ground law, filed his version in that chamber, almost identical. House Bill 183. It had 33 co-sponsors. And so these were our dueling bills that we had filed in both chambers to give us two cracks at this, if you will, to fix these problems with gun-free zones and problem with preemption violations. And so the bills were introduced, they're read in, the drafting was all done, plenty of co-sponsors, and immediately, and I mean immediately, it was clear that Senate President Drew Perkins, who dang near screwed all of us last year on stand your ground law, that Senate President Perkins had no desire to advance this bill at all because he sent it to the Judiciary Committee. Now, that might seem like, well, what's the big deal, Aaron? I mean, it deals with changing judicial statutes, and so that kind of makes sense. The truth is that everybody, and I mean everybody, in Cheyenne knows the Senate Judiciary Committee is the most liberal, the most toxic, and the most poorly run committee in Cheyenne. And so when leadership wants to kill a bill, especially a conservative bill like a gun bill, they don't send it to the other committees. It goes to Judiciary because they know the members of that committee, like Senator Von Flatteren, for example, who would be a Democrat in any other state General Assembly, and Senator Cost, and people like this will do all they can to kill gun bills. And Chairwoman Nethercott, who's always been a fair weather friend at best to gun owners, she won't stand in their way at all. And she didn't. She didn't. So they had their vote in committee and they killed the bill. They killed the bill. And so soon thereafter, and this happens a lot in red states. Leadership sucks. They want to kill good bills. They put them in a kill committee. And in this case, they did their job and they killed the bill in judiciary. That's not terribly unusual. It's offensive. It's outrageous, but it happens. And a lot of times what happens then is that's it. The bill is dead for the year. But Senator Bouchard was as fired up as I am now about watching all this hard work and all these co-sponsors, all this work being just destroyed in that committee. And so Senator Bouchard invoked rules of the chamber in the Senate chamber, which would resurrect the bill, take it out of the Judiciary Committee, and put it where the gun bills ordinarily go when they're supposed to move forward, and that is the Senate Agriculture Committee. That's where the gun bill was, for example, last year, that passed Stand Your Ground law. That is where the gun bills go in Cheyenne in the Senate if they want to be passed. Everybody knows that. Drew Perkins knew it. He put it in Judiciary on purpose. And so Senator Bouchard invoked rules of the chamber to get this bill out of that committee on the floor and to be voted on to be re-referred to the Ag Committee. Now, it's a little bit technical, but it's really kind of simple. It was in a kill committee. We want to move it out of that committee over to this committee so we can advance the agenda. And so this action is amazing because very few lawmakers have the guts to go and do kind of what amounts to a screw you to their own leadership and force a vote on this issue. Senator Bouchard should be commended loudly for doing exactly this, as should the seconds. He had to have some seconds to advance this motion. Senator Beitman, Senator Boner, and Senator James were the three senators who stood with Senator Bouchard to give him the votes he had to have to put this bill on the floor for a vote. So we then got a roll call vote of every senator who was in favor of or against this bill. Now, your senator, if he or she was a no vote, we'll give you the names here in a moment, they're going to say, oh, no, I'm not against the bill. Well, that's procedural. That was a procedural vote, and we do things a certain way in Cheyenne. Look, that's all crap. That's all crap. Everybody in Cheyenne knows, everybody in politics knows that these types of votes, these types of maneuverings, this is how leadership kills our gun rights. This is why we haven't had a single gun bill pass in Wyoming except for 2018 in the previous 5 to 6 years. Lawmakers are killing gun bills over and over and over by doing exactly this, putting them in bad committees and letting them die. And so when Senator Bouchard invoked the rules to put that bill on the floor and give it a fresh breath of air to put it to a good committee, that is the gun vote for 2019. And Wyoming gun owners will be scoring this as the gun vote in 2019. If your senator voted against this part right here, he or she voted against your right to keep and bear arms. And that list is as follows: Senator Anderson, Senator Asami Dalton, Senator Bebout, Senator Coe, Senator Driscoll, Senator Ellis, Senator Guru, Senator Hicks, Senator Hutchings. More on that in a moment. Senator Cost, Senator Landon, Senator Moniz, Senator Nethercott, Senator Pappas, Senator Perkins, Senator Rothfuss, Senator Schuler, Senator Scott, Senator Steinmetz. More on that in a moment. And Senator Von Flatteren. Senator Baldwin and Wasserberger were excused for this vote. I can almost assure they'd both be a no vote, but I can't say it because I didn't vote that day on the floor. So all of those votes were people who voted against your gun rights and voted to kill Senate File 75. This took place on January 25 of this year, early in the 2019 session. Senator Beitman, Senator Boner, Senator Agar, Senator Case, Senator Dockstetter, Senator James, and Senator Kinski all joined Senator Bouchard to fight to advance this bill. 8 yeses, 20 noes, and 2 excused. Again, if your senator voted against this bill on January 25, 2019, he or she voted to kill Senate File 75, which would repeal gun-free zones and fix Wyoming's preemption problem. A couple people deserve a special mention. I already gave a special mention to Senator Bouchard and the friends of his, the friends of all of us, of gun owners, who helped advance this bill this far. But Senator Hutchings and Senator Steinmetz deserve a special mention here, and not for a good thing. Because WIGO members know and remember that last year, it was Wyoming gun owners that dumped a mountain of direct mail into both of those races. WIGO dumped a tremendous amount of emails and videos into both of those races. Senator Hutchings was able to take out former Senator Fred Emmerich. Fred Emmerich was an out-and-out enemy to gun owners. WIGO knew that better than anybody else. We had the roll call votes. We voted against constitutional carry, voted against gun-free zone repeal, and on and on and on that list goes. And we spent a tremendous amount of WIGO donor money in the primaries in August to make sure everybody knew just how bad Fred Emmerich was on your gun rights. And Lynn Hutchings became I almost said governor. She became the senator in this district in large part because gun owners were furious. And they were furious because WIGO informed them of what Senator Emmerich's record was. So for Senator Hutchings to stab gun owners in the back is inexcusable. Inexcusable. Senator Steinmetz had an open seat primary, not quite the same situation, but she also, like Lynn Hutchings, surveyed 100%, vowed to back bills like this on the floor, and she was MIA when we needed to have her the most. She stood with Senate Democrats and she stood with Senate moderates to vote against your gun rights and helped kill Senate File 75 on January 25, 2019. And again, they're all going to scream and shout and say, no, this was a vote on procedure. Exactly. You used procedure to kill our gun rights. That's how it works. And, at the end of the day, guys, if they want to argue with you about this, I wouldn't even argue with them. It's very simple. Wyoming gun owners will score this as a vote, and they are free to defend it in future primaries. That's how the game is played. Over in the House, the version out there was HB 183, House Bill 183. Again, 33 co-sponsors. I was there in January, drumming up co-sponsors on both of these bills, and people were flocking to both Senator Bouchard and Representative Salazar to co-sponsor. We had tremendous support amongst the rank and file. But as everybody knows, House leadership is about as liberal as you can possibly imagine. That certainly includes the Speaker. And so this bill was referred to the same thing, a kill committee, referred to a kill committee. And the whole point of this vote then was to, same as in the Senate chamber, was to pull it out of the kill committee and put it into the House Judiciary Committee, because this is a little bit different from the Senate chamber. In the House, gun bills, if you want to have them pass, they go to Judiciary. It is a much more conservative committee. Everybody in the entire building knows that. But the Speaker, determined to kill the bill, put it into a kill committee. And so, thankfully, what was the date on this? Let me see here. Thankfully, on January 31st, Representative Dan Larson stood tall, and I mean stood tall, for gun owners, and he used similar procedural rules in his chamber to put this bill on the floor for a vote. Get out of this kill committee and put it on the floor for a vote. And so, similar to Senator Bouchard, gun owners owe a huge debt of gratitude to Representative Dan Larson, because the vote he got for us was the only roll call vote that we got on these bills in 2019. And similar to the Senate chamber, he has to have seconds to make this work. And I want to mention a great thank you to Representatives Blackburn, Clem, Edwards, Gray, Jennings, Miller, Salazar, Stivar, and Tass. These were the lawmakers who seconded the motion from Representative Dan Larson to put HB 183 on the floor for a vote. And here, folks, here's the roll call. Here's the folks who voted against. I'm going to show that I had the right list here. Voted against your right to keep and bear arms by trying to kill this bill. These were the no votes on House Bill 183. Representative Blake, Representative Brown, Representative Burlingame, Representative Clifford, Representative Conley, Representative Crank, Representative Dayton Selman, Representative Duncan, Representative Flitner, Representative Freeman, Representative Furphy, Representative Guerrier, Representative Haley, Representative Harshman, Speaker Harshman, who's the one who's been killing this entire time, Representative Henderson, Representative Hunt, Representative Kinner, Representative Larson Lloyd, Representative McGuire, Representative Newsom, Representative Nicholas, Representative Obermuller, Representative Paxton, Representative Pownell, Representative Roscoe, Representative Schwartz, Representative Summers, Representative Sweeney, Representative Walters, Representative Winter, Representative Yin, and Representative Swanitzer. These are the anti-gun votes that we had this year in the House who voted to successfully kill House Bill 183. 32 no votes. There were 4 excused. Representative Kirkbride, Northrup, Pelkey, and Simpson. They would have likely all been no votes, but they weren't there, so we can't say that. And what that leaves you then is a list of the only representatives who stood up to fight for gun owners, and that list is Representatives Barlow, Blackburn, Burkhart, Clausen, Clem, Edwards, Eklund, and that pains me to say it, by the way, Iyer, Gray, Hallinan, Jennings, Larson, Dan, that's Dan Larson, Lindholm, Lux, Miller, Olson, Piperinen, Salazar, Stith, Stivar, Tass, Washut, Western, and Wilson. These, what is that? Let me see, where's the count? I can't find the count right. These 24 were the reps who stood up and fought for your gun rights this year in Cheyenne. So I want you to kind of realize that's kind of the picture we have right now. We have a lot of pro-gun votes in the rank and file. But what we don't have is a lot of people who will fight and tell Speaker Harshman, who thinks he's all a big tough guy and he's all big and verbose, he's just a little schoolyard bully. And he needs to be told by the conservatives in his caucus to stop impeding the Second Amendment. He almost did it last year with Stand Your Ground law. He did it this year. And what we need are lawmakers in Cheyenne who think, actually, I don't work for you, Mr. Speaker. I work for my district. That's what Dan Larson did. That's what these other 24 guys did, and these 7 or 8 co-sponsors, or seconds in particular, they stood up and said, you know what? We work for our constituents. We care about the Second Amendment. We want to fight for freedom. We don't care about your little high school drama games you have going on here, but we need more like that. This motion failed. The vote failed 24 to 32 with 4 excused. We're short. We need more conservatives. We need folks who will fight, who will stand up and fight in Cheyenne. It's not enough to be pro-gun. It's Wyoming. Everybody, quote unquote, is pro-gun. Everybody. We need people who will fight for that right. Fight for us in Cheyenne. And so some of these people did. Senator Bouchard and his friends, they did. Dan Larson and his guys and gals, they did. But a lot of folks did not. And so when you talk to your lawmakers this summer, you see them at a forum, you see them at the rodeo, you see them online. So ask them, what is your deal? How do you sit here and tell us how pro-gun you are? You get down to the state capitol or over to the state capitol and you just fall apart at the seams. 24 lawmakers in the House stood tall to fight for us. We almost had the votes we had to have. If your name wasn't on that list, where were you? That's the question you want to ask. And of course, it was 8 to 20 with 2 absent in the Senate. And so again, if your senator's name is not Agar, Beitman, Boner, Bouchard, Case, Dockstetter, James, or Kinski, you got to talk to your senator and say, I don't care what you tell me you are. I don't care how pro-gun you profess to be. What I care about is your votes. And we needed you, Lynn Hutchings. We needed you, Sherry Steinmetz. We needed you, all these people. On January 25, 2019, we needed you. And you wouldn't fight for us. And we're going to remember that. So guys, that is the report we have right now. But listen, in a future email and a future video report, we're going to discuss the upcoming threat, the upcoming gun control bills that have already been added to the Summer Interim Committee study list. We have much more to talk about in a future video. We already know it's coming. There's going to be a fight for gun control in 2020. We can assure you of that, and much more to come on that. So watch for our emails. Watch for our updates. If you haven't yet, guys, please join WIGO as a member. We need all your support to fight this fight for you in Cheyenne. It's joinwygo.com. It's www.joinwygo.com, or go to the website, wyominggunowners.org. More to come, guys. Pass this around. I know it's a long video. I realize that. Pass it around. Let folks see it. Help get the word out. More to come, guys, in the days ahead. Thank you very much, and have a great day.